Not even 20 minutes passed, and I got an alert that Don Lemon, on the same day that Tucker Carlson got fired from Fox News, will be getting let go from CNN. When I tell you I called this when his show got removed from the primetime slot on CNN and he got moved to a morning time slot, and not to his own show, but to a show where he's sharing or co-anchoring with two other women, I knew it was only a matter of time before he was out. I called it. I always tell people, when they move you to that morning time slot from that prime time slot, that means you on your way out the door. I'm just surprised that it took even longer for them to actually go ahead and do it. But I think there was so many factors leading up to Don finally getting let go. But one in particular was those comments he made about women in their age. Even though we understood what he was saying, but of course, Heather and Heidi took it overboard and blew it into something completely over exaggerated. And I believe that was the beginning of the end for him. At that point, his days were numbered. But we also can't forget the stuff that he said about the black community over the years. I feel like I don't really need to rehash all of that, because by this point we already know everything that he's pretty much said, even going back as far as what happened in Ferguson with Mike Brown back in 2014. But let's see what they talking about. Don Lemon is out at CNN. CNN said on Monday that it was parting ways with Mr. Lemon, a star anchor who was a fixture of the network's primetime lineup before enduring a short but controversial tenure as a morning show co-host. CNN and Don have parted ways, the network said in a statement on Monday. Don will forever be a part of the CNN family, and we thank him for his contributions over the past 17 years. We wish him well and will be cheering him on in his future endeavors. That sounds so scripted. Mr. Lemon's morning show, which he hosted with Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins, would continue. CNN This Morning has been on the air for nearly 6 months, and we are committed to its success. Now peep that. That's what they wanted anyway. They wanted that show to be ran by those two white women without the interference of Don Lemon, a black man. See, Don probably thought he was going to be able to hide behind his sexuality, and he was able to, in my opinion, for quite some time. But eventually, if they got to cut the fat, they got to cut the fat. Mr. Lemon, age 57, appeared on air on Monday morning as normal. I was informed this morning by my agent that I had been terminated by CNN. So he got told, his agent was told he was going to be fired while he was on the air. Mr. Lemon said in a statement that he posted to Twitter, "I am stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have the decency to tell me directly. At no time was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do the work I have loved at the network." Well, here's the thing, Don. They can do what they want. They own the network. You do not. And see, this is a true wake-up call right here, because Don is one of those people who felt he was the quote-unquote magical Negro. And he, I guess, found out that he was a wannabe one-year student at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I don't know. He was playing around with false magic, I guess. One of CNN's most recognizable stars, Mr. Lemon had a reputation as a fiery political commentator during his 8 years as a primetime anchor. But inside the network, he began to lose support after he made remarks in February about women and aging. What did I tell you? I called that. I knew that was one of the reasons. That were widely perceived to be sexist. And we know who mainly the main women that were upset about it, quote unquote, white women. They the ones that made a big deal out of it. The incident generated a national uproar and a rare public rebuke from CNN's chairman, Chris Light. Mr. Lemon had asserted on air that Nikki Haley, the 51-year-old Republican presidential candidate, isn't in her prime. Sorry, adding a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe her 40s. He dismissed the objections of his female co-host by responding, "I'm just saying what the facts are. Google it." See, he pissed off them white women. That's what it was. But again, that was Don getting too comfortable. He got too comfortable, and I find he gets too comfortable around PC a lot. But this time, he really stuck his foot into it. Now, here's the thing. For all intents and purposes, a lot of people agree with Don, but the people that did not agree with him were the ones who was holding his future in their hands. If you have the CNN chairman, where they said he made a rare appearance rebuking what he said, then you really effed up, in their eyes, of course. He later apologized to the CNN newsroom and agreed to a corporate training program to address his on-air behavior, and did all that and still couldn't save his job. Allies of Mr. Lemon had hoped he would turn the page from the incident, but executives at CNN gradually concluded that his future at CNN had become untenable, according to two people who spoke on condition of being anonymous because of the internal discussions were sensitive. In recent weeks, CNN bookers had discovered that some guests did not want to appear on air with Mr. Lemon, and had research on the morning show reviewed by CNN executives found that his popularity with audiences had fallen, one of the people said. Monday's announcement capped a dramatic fall for Mr. Lemon, who just 7 months ago was happily ensconced in a primetime anchor chair. His long-running 10 p.m. program, Don Lemon Tonight, drew fans for his spiky exchanges and pull-no-punches commentary on politics in the Trump White House. Mr. Lemon imported that persona to CNN this morning, but it was an awkward fit for an hour when many viewers making breakfast and getting children off to school want easygoing patter, not thundering monologues. And they knew what they were doing by putting him there, because they knew he couldn't fit in that slot. He wasn't made to do the morning slot. He was there for the primetime slot where he could really, as they say, give his fiery takes. Tensions also emerged between Mr. Lemon and one of his co-anchors, Ms. Collins. In December, CNN This Morning crew members were rattled after a backstage incident where Mr. Lemon accused Ms. Collins of interrupting him too often. Yeah, like I said, they had to do what they had to do to get him out of there. And I'm telling you, there were probably so many instances that they could have gotten him out of there. But that one that he did about the comment about the women, aging in their prime and all of that, that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, in their opinion. And notice what they started to do towards the end of this article was pull up incidences between him and one of his co-anchors from prior incidences between the both of them that we didn't know about. Well, at least I didn't know, because I didn't care. So they said, we have found a way to get you out of here, but we will continue to be the dead horse. Don Lemon is that dead horse. So that's crazy. You had Tucker Carlson get fired from Fox because he couldn't keep his mouth shut and was costing them hundreds of millions of dollars, which, by the way, I found out the lawsuit was around $1 billion, but they scaled it down to 787. Like, that's a huge gap. It's not really that huge of a jump. Now you got Donna. I don't know what he gonna do, because they were upset at something he said that might have been factual. He hurt white women's feelings. That, in my opinion, is why Don got fired. He hurt Heather and Heidi's feelings. They couldn't handle it, and they said, you gotta go because you're a misogynist, you're this. And notice, Don, they didn't care about your sexuality. At the end of the day, you are a black man in America. And I think somewhere along the way, at one point, you didn't even realize that. I think in recent time, you were starting to realize it, but by that time, it was already too late. So it is what it is. Like Tucker Carlson over at, now formerly at Fox News, now former anchor CNN, I'll say to you what I said about Tucker. I feel absolutely nothing.